Hi, this is Vern from UFOscoop.com, and today I wanted to cover something that I was thinking about the other day. I was riding my motorbike to a park in the morning and saw this huge dragonfly come across right in front of me, and I smacked it with my chest. I was going about 50 miles per hour and it thumped me pretty good. It was kind of like someone flicks you with a finger. That's about how hard it hit. Certainly not enough to knock me off my bike. Certainly not enough to cause any damage. But I was only going 50 miles an hour. So I started to think about that immediately in relation to UFOs and how fast they're going, how fast they're said to be going. And you multiply 50 miles per hour even by 10 and you get 500 miles per hour, which is about the speed of a passenger airliner. Now, that isn't even enough. The planes are strengthened enough that they could hit a bug, even a big one probably like that, and get away with minor damage, little dent in the aluminum, maybe a crack in the glass. I think the glass is super strong though. I think it wouldn't even crack. Plus the air current probably would cause the if you hit a bug, it would be on a flat surface that's facing the air, right? That's facing forward. It wouldn't be like the angled glass, because all the air rushing around would probably skim that insect right over it at 500 miles per hour. Now, the speeds, the velocity that the Tic Tac UFOs are said to be going is now incredible. I thought it was fast when I heard it was around 20,000 miles per hour, which is fast. We have missiles that can go 2,300 miles per hour. We actually have planes. The SR-71 Blackbird, decades ago was going, some say, over 3,000 miles per hour. That's fast, but 20,000 miles per hour is at least 6 times that. Which is super fast, right? Nobody's even saying 20,000 miles per hour anymore. I figured it out just real quick. At over 60,000 feet per second, this Tic Tac was moving as it went from 50,000 feet down to 50 feet. It worked out to 43,600 something miles per hour it was moving. And that's an average of the time it took to get from 50,000 feet to 50 feet. The average, in the time that it covered it, 0.78 seconds, puts it at 43,000 miles per hour, which is fast, right? This other website, the link will be in the description. I'll put a link to my article, which links to that PDF. Some scientists, I don't know who they are, they don't have an about page for their website, but they did a 275-page analysis of the Tic Tac UFO experience back in 2004. And it's a technical analysis. They put the speed at minimum 100,000 miles per hour. Now that same dragonfly, if you hit that thing at 100,000 miles per hour, I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think mankind has any material that could withstand something like that. And even if it did, it would shake the holy hell out of that craft, wouldn't it? The vibration would just probably kill everything inside anyway. The Tic Tac UFOs, if they're going, and they say it's up to, was it 200,000? I can't remember. I didn't look at the top end because I just thought 100,000 miles per hour was so incredible. I didn't pay attention to I looked at the bottom end. I didn't pay attention to the top end because I thought 100,000 is enough, to make my point. But I think they said something like 240,000 miles per hour. And what they did was they looked at it as if it went from here to here, from here to the midpoint is acceleration, they say, And then from here to here, it has to be deceleration at the same strength, right? The same power. And so they said from here to here, it had to be, you know, flying. And so they got these crazy numbers. And then they also looked at it from, how did they look at it? I'm not sure how they looked at it. I think an acceleration from here to here. Like the whole thing is acceleration and then stop. I can't remember the second way they looked at it. Regardless, they found huge numbers. If you hit a bird at that, you know, I don't have to say, if you hit a bird at that speed, there certainly isn't anything probably in the universe that's going to hold together. I can't imagine that there would be. A bird of a pound, a couple pounds, a freaking duck or a goose, you know, a 10 pounds or 15 pounds or something like that, please. I think you've probably all seen the destruction of a canopy or of a front end or of a wing of a plane that's only going 500 miles per hour or so that hits a goose or a duck or whatever they are. A big bird. And that's at 500. This is at 10, 20, or 10, 100. This is over 100 times as fast. That thing is not going to hold together. Anyway, so I did like a brief analysis of it on the webpage. I'll show you below. There's a link. But it's not only just hitting bugs. Like, do they have the technology to prejudge? Their path is going to be there, so far out there, however far. Everything within the air column that they're going to disturb from this point to there, which there is 10, 20 miles or so, at least, as it blinked off the screen for Captain Fravor as he was flying and following it. Are they capable of analyzing the flight path of every insect that could possibly get to that area by the time they get there? So that's phenomenal. That's so phenomenal. It's hard to imagine. I can't imagine it. Can this craft judge every bug in the whole space and know that it's not going to hit anything by the time it goes 10, 20 miles? That would be almost as unbelievable as the speeds that we're seeing. So it would have to do that. It would have to have something built into the technology of this craft that maybe it kills everything, 20 miles out within a certain range so that nothing can fly into that space. Maybe it kills it and drops it out of the air before it goes. Who knows? But something's happening, right? Because airliners hit bugs all the time. Airliners hit birds, and we have to be ready for it. But if you're flying that fast, if you're flying, tens of times as fast, you have to have some solution, right? There has to be some technology that takes care of it. It's a real threat, a bug in the air. Heck, at 100,000 miles per hour, maybe a mosquito is a threat. I don't know. Haven't worked it out. Haven't seen anybody work that out, but it's probably a threat. Now, something else that doesn't make sense with the Tic Tacs is that there's no rush of air that is so strong that it messes with the aircraft around it. It messes with the fighter jets or even the other Tic Tacs, which were said to be dropping out of the sky on the radar screen, in fairly close proximity as each plane was going after one. So the movement, the air that is displaced from a Tic Tac that's 40 feet long, dropping, so it's long ways, right? It's not going forward, and the cross section of a cylinder like that of a Tic Tac is a circle and it's smaller, but this is a 40-foot long Tic Tac. The air that is moving out of the way as it drops at least 46,000 miles per hour, 40,000 miles per hour, possibly, potentially 100,000 miles per hour or 200,000 miles per hour. The air that it's going to displace and the violent characteristic of that air, which is also moving at the same speed for a while until it capitulate, until it resolves itself. Like the wind would be rushing as fast as a TikTok drops, as it goes by, say this bit of air moves, at that speed. And so for how long, who knows, but certainly the pilots of the F-18s had to be thinking about that, didn't they, as they were flying around? Like when Captain Fravor was he said he was on a descent and he was kind of coming down and the craft was going up. It mirrored him for a while, but then there was another instance where he was going down and the craft shot back up to 28,000 feet or something, like in an instant. Was there no rush of air even? It doesn't appear. Nobody said anything about that. Nobody mentioned that in any analysis that I've seen at all. And I've seen a lot. I didn't read that 275-page technical analysis. I don't know if they cover that, but I've never heard this as an explanation for, or I've never heard this as a characteristic of the flight of these things, of these Tic Tacs. So then getting around to my point is that maybe these things are not flying at all, because the physics involved, the engineering to overcome the natural laws that we have here on Earth. I mean, they must be operating according to our laws too, right? And maybe they have an advanced knowledge of those laws. But what I'm saying is that the physical ability of these things to overcome bugs in the air, birds in the air, and wind itself and air itself just is so overwhelming to my mind. I just can't consider it. And so I wonder, I have a bug these bugs land right in your eye. So I'm trying to consider something else which is equally as unlikely, but just as unlikely. What if the craft is not moving at all? Because on the radar, Kevin Day, and was it Voorhees as well? I'm not sure. But Gary Voorhees. The Tic Tac was up in the air, say at 28,000 or 50 or 80,000, whatever it was, and it drops to 50 feet above sea level. They don't see it in that period between when it's dropping. The radar can't pick it up. It's literally impossible to pick it up. So they see it at this height. Next, they see it at this height on the radar, and they assume that it traveled through air to get there, to that point. It may not have, because it doesn't have any signature of having done that. There's no heat signature even. As the pilots look on the radar, they have the infrared radar. The infrared doesn't bump up like it should be. In this paper I did see this, that it should be on the order of a small nuclear explosion as far as the heat generated in that drop. And there's certainly nothing like that either. So there's nothing like that heat signature. There's nothing like the rush of wind that even pilots get from a 747 that's in front of them, and they have to be careful how close they follow because they'll get caught in that vortex and be spun around and maybe crash. These Tic Tacs are flying 80 times as fast or more, maybe 200 times as fast as a 500 mile an hour plane at 100,000 miles per hour. It must be creating, 200 times the prop wash. Doesn't it have to be? And sure, it's smaller crop, but it's less aerodynamic maybe even. Could be even more than that. Could be less, could be more. Whatever, it's got to be on the order of 200 times as much air violence, air turbidity or air turbulence, right? There's no mention of that at all. It doesn't seem to be doing that at all. It's two things. And then the birds and bugs. It doesn't seem to be we never saw one explode in the air as it took off at speed and hit a bug. So maybe it's not even doing that. Maybe it's actually teleporting. Teleportation has become big. I didn't read much about it, but I'm about to, because to me that's an equally likely explanation. It's not moving through air, it's teleporting. So it's here 1 second, and in 0.78 seconds it's down here. That means it's physically here at 50,000 feet, and then it's not. It's gone. Where it goes, I don't understand. But then it appears down there at 50 feet. Teleportation, it is the better explanation. Is it the more complicated explanation? I'm not sure. I mean, they both explanations are just totally bizarre, aren't they? So I don't know. Just interesting thoughts. When the bug hit my chest and I started thinking about that, it was just like, wait a second. Nobody ever mentioned anything about what are they doing about bugs? You know, they're moving so much faster than our jets can, and are they not considering bugs? And if not, why not? If they're teleporting, they don't have to consider bugs at all, do they? Unless they have to consider a bug in that small space, and that would be easier to figure out than would be all the bugs and all the bug paths that are within a 20-mile stretch of this path. Anyway, just something to think about. I like to give people something to think about. I certainly don't have all the answers, as you can see, but I do have a lot of questions. So come over to UFO Scoop if you're interested in more of this stuff. I have profiles on everybody at TTSA, To the Stars Academy. I have some researchers listed. I have links to Twitter to follow certain people on Twitter if you want to stay up to date with what's going on there. I have some links to videos. I have news, breaking news and news that comes out over time that I think is interesting. The site is starting to get a lot of people. We had 150 people the other day. And I'm not doing anything really for the website to crank it up. So I think there's just a huge interest in UFOs at this time. I think it's only going to get greater. We're only going to have more people interested. Hopefully you're talking to people that you know about this. I know it's not easy. My wife is pretty into it and pretty well up on it because I do give her updates, and my daughter thinks it's funny. And my brother certainly won't consider it, but my sister does. So, you know, broach the subject with people, put it out there and see, you know, are they willing to talk about it? There's a hell of a lot of stuff to talk about and to analyze and to think about and to come to grips with. So, I don't know, super fascinating topic, and hope I see you guys. Leave something in the comments either at YouTube here or at the UFO Scoop website. All right, cheers.